I posted on, I think, Threads the other day, just this quote like, unconditional love should never include abuse. You get to this place where you're told in society and you're told in this aspect of like movies and you're told in this aspect of religion and Christianity of unconditional love, that you're supposed to love someone unconditionally. And maybe if you keep loving them unconditionally, maybe something will change. Maybe something will get better. And we'll see different people who will say, well, we need to love them more. We need to care about the narcissist more. We need to care about the toxic person more. And maybe that'll help them change. I was talking to someone the other day, and the hard reality is she was trying to view like loving the narcissist more of like loving someone who is stuck as an addict. And while they look similar, they're also very different. Let me explain, start off. So think of it this way. You have someone who is addicted to drugs, and they might know that they're addicted to drugs. They might want to stop being addicted to drugs, but like they don't have the capacity or they don't have the know-how to be able to stop. Now, people are like, well, it sounds a little bit like a narcissist. Okay, bear with me. They want to stop, but they don't have the tools or the resources or the ability to stop. Okay, so it's like, I don't want this. I don't know why I do it. I just do it. Okay, so with this, you have someone that comes alongside and is helping them actually get clean. Now, there's also a piece here. It's still not unconditional love. You're still not just continuing to give and give and give. It's just like you wouldn't go up to a drug addict and give them hundreds and thousands of dollars to be like, all right, we're going to get you clean by doing this and this and this. And then they go and spend that on drugs, right? Like there has to be boundaries there to be able to help. Now, the difference is with the narcissist, they might say, I want help. They might say, I want this, but I don't know how. But the problem is they're not actually willing to do the work. And typically, 9 times out of 10, when they say, I want help, it's just to be able to keep you in the relationship and to keep you stuck a little bit longer. This is the part that it struggles for people to be able to see this until they see it repetitively and they're like, okay, maybe there's actually something to this because this person hasn't actually changed. Now, the whole point of this is just understanding that unconditional love doesn't equal or doesn't mean that you should be able to put up with abuse. It doesn't mean that like, well, I just need to love them more and they'll eventually change. It's important to understand that love needs to have boundaries. Some of you might be watching this being like, I struggle with boundaries. I don't know what boundaries are. This is a huge problem in my life. Because if you don't actually have boundaries, it will let you tolerate more and more and more abuse because there's no line in the sand that says, hey, don't do this to me. Don't cross over this. Or they cross over and you're like, well, that happened. It'll be fine. They'll get over it. I'll just love them more. We'll work through this. It doesn't work that way, especially when we're talking about narcissistic abuse. So like this whole aspect of like maybe if she loves me more, then I'll stop doing it, doesn't work that way. Okay, like my wife tried everything to love me more, to cater to me, to look a certain way, to act a certain way, just so that I would accept her, or so that I would like feel a certain way, or act a certain way, or stop being abusive a certain way, and all these things would happen, but it didn't actually change me because she wasn't able to change me. She wasn't the person that was able to make me change. No one was there to make me change. A lot of times people think, well, if I can just make him change, then we'll be able to figure out. If I can make him realize, then we'll be able to move forward. It's not your job, and you can't do that. You can't force another person to have an internal heart transformation. You can open up the door, you can try to lead them there, but then there's a boundary that needs to happen that says you have to do this on your own. You also have to make a choice. That's the hard thing. I was talking to someone the other day and they were like, well, they don't have a choice. It's just innate. It's just what they do. And I'm like, no, they do have a choice. Like they have a choice every single day of when they abuse, of how they abuse, of what that abuse looks like, and how public or private that abuse is to be able to keep their image intact. It's all a choice. People make it sound like they're just incapable of making choices and they're walking through like, I'm going to do this no matter what. Like, no. Like they're humans that actually go through this process, but it still is a choice. Unpopular opinion. Don't really care. But I see where it's impacted my life when I thought I didn't have a choice, when I pretended I didn't have a choice, when in reality, I did. I just didn't choose it. Think of it this way, like in a healthy relationship, love is mutual, respectful, supportive. We talked about this just the other day, like having like an actual connected relationship that's supportive, that's helping, that's caring, all these things. but it also thrives in a framework of having boundaries to protect the individuals from harming themselves, each other, the relationship, whatever it might be. But when you stay and you're just enduring abuse in the name of love only, it starts to erode your well-being. It starts to erode who you actually are, and it perpetuates harmful dynamics in the relationship. Think of it this way. You might be with someone who is a narcissist or narcissistic and has emotionally manipulated and belittled and put you down. And then they expect you to endure all the abuse as a testament of your love. This is how you prove your love to me. See, you don't love me anymore because you left me after I punched you in the face. You're like, well, yeah, why wouldn't I? Because I knew you didn't love me. And it's flipping it back around on you. It's making you feel like you're crazy because you didn't love them enough after they abused you. This is where you'll see a narcissist abuse you and hurt you, and you come back and you're apologizing to them for what they did to you. Has that happened to you? Like, this is the place where we're talking about narcissistic abuse, that it confuses and it brings you back to a place where you start to fall under their reality. Now, the other piece is like how the abuse impacts your self-worth, how it starts to break you down. Like, it impacts, it hurts, it erodes your confidence. We see this all the time where you're exceptionally confident at your job or the business that you run, and all of a sudden, because of what he's saying and what he's doing, you feel like you're incapable of making decisions. Like, it feels like you don't even know what to do anymore. Your self-worth starts to disappear. Your self-esteem starts to slide away, feeling like, well, I'm not going to even take care of myself. I'm not going to go to the gym anymore. I'm not going to eat healthy. I'm not going to do the things that I have been doing in my life that help me and that give me energy and power. Those are just gone. And it makes you challenged to even like have a healthy sense of self or healthily move forward in your life. The thing is, you have to understand love should uplift. It should empower you, not diminish your self-worth. And so when you're thinking about this love piece of like, let me just love this person more and more, what is the negative connotations? What is the negative effects? What is the negative cost that it's having on you? Like, if I just had you sit down and like start writing out today, like, what has been the cost to you in the relationship over the past year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? What is the cost in the relationship to you just mentally, just emotionally? How has it affected your confidence? How has that been affected in your work life, in interaction with your kids, in your family life, and your balance between your work and your family? How has it impacted your body, like mentally, emotionally, physically? How has just that confidence piece affected everything? Okay, now what has it affected in the aspect of self-esteem? Now, how has that affected you in your body? How has that affected you in your concentration at work? How has that affected you in making decisions for the family? You see what I mean? Like, you start to get to a place when you start to count the cost becomes giant. The cost becomes huge. We have to do this with people because they don't see the actual cost of the relationship. They don't see what it is costing them. Not financially, but emotionally, mentally, spiritually, relationship-wise. All these different pieces that affect you more than what you realize and end up permeating every single aspect of your life. This piece of, let me just love this person unconditionally and it'll work out, doesn't happen. This goes back and forth, abusing you over and over and over. So what I want you to think of today is this aspect of seeking healthy love. And I'm not just saying like healthy love of like get out of the relationship, find someone else. That could be what it is. I'm not suggesting go find someone while you're in the relationship. Let's take care of that. Let's get you out. Let's figure out what needs to happen. But recognizing that unconditional love should never involve and include abuse is the first step towards seeking healthier relationships. Like, you start to realize, wait a second, this relationship, even though I need to love and should love and continue to try to love, this relationship is abusive. That means there needs to be a change. There needs to be something in there where you're valuing yourself, where you're valuing your kids, where you're valuing like your self-love for yourself. Because otherwise, if you don't, what's going to happen? What's going to be the end result of the road you're going down? Now, I want you to consider for a moment the road you're going down. Let's just paint the picture forward. What is this going to look like as it continues to happen? As he continues to abuse, as he continues to yell at you, as he continues to degrade the kids. Like, as these continue to happen and you look over the past couple of years and you slowly see that it's gotten worse and worse and worse, what happens to you if it continues moving forward this way? What happens to you if you keep giving this love and this care for this other person, but it's not reciprocated, and all it's doing is beating you down more and more and more? It's time to set clear boundaries. It's time to prioritize your own needs, your own emotional well-being. When you do this, you start to pave the way forward to build healthier connections, built on respect and built on care. What that means is you might continue to grow and develop, and this person is no longer in your life because they're not willing to do that. If he's not willing to grow himself, to love and connect with you, he's not willing to be in the relationship. Like, that is a choice on him. You're like, well, I just hate the idea of I'm breaking up the relationship. You're not. He is, by how he's actually showing up, saying, hey, I'm not going to actually love you by my actions. This is where you need to understand the actions matter more than all of the words out there. That's what you have to see. That's what you have to go on. No matter where you are, I just want you to understand this unconditional love, just loving the narcissist more, is not going to change them. And it doesn't equal that you should have to deal with the abuse that's happening on a day-to-day basis. If I can be of help, please reach out. Go to rawmotivations.com. We'd love to talk to you today to help you move forward in your healing.